Dana Abercrombie, the Koalition. Thank you so much for speaking to me. I really wanted to know what was it, the idea that kind of first sparked this movie and that what you really wanted to say that hasn't been said before when it comes to this franchise.
Well, I wanted to tell a different kind of holiday story. Holiday stories usually are very heartwarming, and I wanted to tell a story in a way, kind of a scary story. It's almost like a bit of a thriller. Is that Greg gets in trouble during the holidays and he needs to cover it up, and so it's got it is a holiday story, but it's a very wimpy kid holiday story, and I think that was a fun challenge to embark on.
I have to ask the inspiration behind the dog. It's a little creepy, yet it's sentimental.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we see these things out there where different families have different holiday traditions. And of course, we know there's the elf on the shelf. And I wanted to do an inverted version of that where the character where the elf is a little bit scary. You don't know quite if it's alive or not. And that adds an element of horror to the story, which I think kind of amplifies Greg's stress.
So I was wondering, when creating this, did you lead with horror or was it led with Christmas spirit?
I think it was led with an idea, a spark, which is what if you really needed to be good for Christmas or in the run up to Christmas, and then you were accidentally bad. So it's that inversion. And also, the idea of usually in a holiday movie, the message is that you want to be, snowed in with your family. Basically, you want to be together in a forced sort of way. And so here I'm having it be a stressful element. So I think the spark was just that idea of experiencing a lot of stress during the holidays, because Christmas can be stressful for kids.
Very true. So I want to say also, you're an author, obviously, of all of the books. With these movies coming out, especially with this one, what was it in general that you really wanted to say that you didn't necessarily say in the book form?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to tell the story in a different way. My books, when I wrote Cabin Fever, I was probably like 30 years old. I've grown a lot as a person. I've grown a lot as a writer. So I wanted to tell the right kind of story. And what the Disney Plus movies are allowing me to do is to go back to those original stories that I wrote when I was a much younger person and to kind of perfect them and tell the ultimate version of those stories.
Right. I love the different dynamics between the characters.
Oh,
And
good.
I do. And also what I want to know, not necessarily what is your favorite, but what would you say is you really enjoy writing the most, either getting into trouble or helping getting out of trouble?
I just love writing dialogue between Greg and Rowley, because those characters
Right.
are so, I can hear their voices in my head. And I love Rowley's innocence. Even when he is under a lot of stress, he still is really a child. And that frustrates Greg. But I like that there's a lot of humor that comes from their interactions.
Right. I love those two appearing as well. I was wondering, what would you say Greg gives Rowley and Rowley gives Greg that they haven't had before?
I don't know. It was they're really in this one together. They're both in trouble together, and they both have different motives. But I don't know what makes a relationship like that work. Like, why would a Greg want to be with Rowley, and why would Rowley want to be with Greg? And so it's funny because we see these relationships in life, and they're very curious, but somehow sometimes they work.
Wonderful. And with the older brother, I kind of love as well. He's stuck in with his family. He's always against it. Was he inspired by someone personally, or is it just the way how the chemistry balances itself?
Yeah. Roderick is inspired by my older brother, who was also a drummer, and he had a band. And so I took my own family members and then put them through the fiction blender in a way, and kind of and kind of amplified their comic qualities. And so that it started with the Kinneys, but it's become the Heffleys.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for speaking to me. A wonderful holiday classic.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Take care.